I first came to Pro Development and I was in a bit of a hole. There was a lot of redundancies in the company, so I took on a lot of work, but everything felt like it was on top of me. So my boss actually introduced me to, I think, Abby, I think she just recently started at that time. We did a bit of coaching with her, which was so beneficial. And then she recommended the Remarkable Leadership Programme, which at first I was a little bit apprehensive because management was quite new to me and I felt like there might be a lot of experienced leaders on there. But once complete, I was really glad I did do it because I learned quite a lot. So I jotted down a few things that I learned from it. I don't want to go too much detail on what we did because I think you guys quite like to keep it a bit of a surprise. So you mentioned before about understanding what your team want long term and short term. That's a conversation I never really had before with them. And I found it so beneficial to actually understand what they want, because we're so focused on what the company wants that sort of goes down a bit, like you don't really get to hear that from them, and that has opened up a lot of trust, honesty, and being on the same page, which I feel like we've created a lot of motivation through. The use of delegation. So I was very much felt like I had to do everything. I felt like everything, because I was the leader of the department, it all fell on me. So I was there trying to tackle everything, and you get a lot more out of it, obviously delegating to your team. But it's not just giving them, I suppose, a task, it's explaining that why. And yeah, I saw massive improvements. And then also feedback. So it's very easy to say, oh, well done, or good work today, but it's having a bit more meat on the bones, why what they did there was good. And the use of that, I felt I get a lot more out of people. It was also interesting, everyone on the course had different, I don't know how familiar everyone is with disc profiling, but everyone was sort of had a different profile. So for me, I'm an S. It was so interesting to see how sort of a D would lead the group, and I learned a lot from that, which I took, I suppose, back to the working environment. Setting clear goals, making sure everyone's on the same page, and being able to adapt to different situations. I also found like I achieved something from. And then just confidence. I thought when I first came to it, I didn't have much self-confidence, and now being able to speak to everyone today about the course, I feel like I've come a long way with that.
So that's where I've sort of tapped into Pro Development across the years, to sort of come in, have a look at perhaps what I'm not seeing as a leader within the business, and having that real objective view for you. And it's great because they are so passionate, they're so involved, they give you that extra sort of support, so not just for running different processes, but equally for you. If you're the one that's having to deliver, or you're the one that's having to be leaned on to run processes, do survey, for me, really the biggest tangible difference it's made is with those managers that get promoted. So those of you that work in professional services and other businesses as well, you'll know if they're a great fee earner, they'll get promoted because they're a great fee earner, but they're not always a great manager, and we've never ever given them the skills to be a great manager. And what I found going in, having those conversations, they might not open up to you, they might not share with you the struggles that they're having, but bringing somebody independent in that has no preconceived ideas, no ideas around their previous flaws or what they, but really getting underneath the skin, and that's where Pro Development have come in for me, is have those conversations and being real people, being human, because we can all do things by the book, we can all follow a process, but it's those sort of grey areas where every single person has a grey area sat on the fence. They don't really know which way to turn, and by having another set of ears or another set of eyes on that process.
It became part of my business family at a time when it was critical. We had a gap, we needed it. it's one of the best decisions I ever made. It's as simple as that. Where we first started working with Michelle and her team was when I realised that I was getting spread a little bit too thin, and that this sort of team development was getting pushed further and further back. And we ended up in a situation where I've got a room full of accountants, and we've already touched upon this. And accountants can often be very, very task oriented, and getting them to put those tasks down and to consider the bigger picture was not always the easiest thing to do. So as we got bigger and bigger, and we had I had less time to exercise these things, enter Michelle and her team of Pro Development. Since then, the phrase I like to use is that they've helped us turbo boost the firm. Without doubt, we're in a situation where the firm has progressed from where it was pretty good, so I'm sorry for this, pretty exceptional, through the endeavours and support of Michelle and Pro Development.